Well, hi. I'm just having a rest after breakfast, and this video is about a conversation I had last night with a friend of mine who is confronting the issue of how do you deal with parents who are bullies with their kids, but also with your kids, and just inappropriate and how do you do it, And as one person on the call said, well, it's almost like the only thing you can do is kill them because, it's just a terrible thought. But the idea is that, if you confront somebody who's angry enough, they'll have retribution, and it gets pretty scary. And then probably if you killed them, then their family would want blood, and there'd be revenge, and then there'd be more cycle. And so when we were talking, this wonderful pile of ideas emerged, reminding me of when I was a school principal and a young father and all that kind of stuff, and how many times I didn't know what to do. I was like immobilized by situations. So what emerged in this conversation was that, here is this father who's clearly in distress. He's, when people get that angry kind of stuff and reactive and judgmental, it's because they're really frightened. And a friend of mine by the name of Barbara Coloroso used to say, yeah, if a kid's just been beaten up by a bully, the bully's the one who needs the first hug because he's out of control. He needs to regain his composure. And how do you do that? Well, you don't tell somebody you're out of control. That just infuriates them more. And so I told my friend the story of my friend and teacher, Martin Fisher. And Martin was a psychiatrist, and he worked for couple of organizations who were very avant-garde in their helping teenagers who couldn't control themselves. Martin observed that when people are bullies, they really need attention and soothing. They don't need to be attacked. And so all these angry people who attacked Washington, in lots of ways, the worst thing to happen is everybody gets angry at them back, and they're hunted down like animals, and they're put in jail, and they're punished. And, there has to be consequences, but I'm not sure that the way we punish people is really the best way to do it. And so Martin was sitting with his very elegant wife and two very elegant daughters, they were young kids, in a Roadhouse restaurant. And they were they ordered a very pleasant meal. And, Martin was a very sophisticated man. He was an analyst. He'd been through a lot of very tense times in the world, Nazis, things like that. He'd been affected, and so up came a motorcycle gang, and they parked their motorcycles outside. And they're very loud and they came into the restaurant, and they were just gross, and they were insulting Martin's wife and making inappropriate comments around his daughters and just generally being jerks. And the owners of the restaurant were just freaked out. They didn't know what to do. And Martin said he recognized that these people were very insecure and that he needed to draw them away from his wife and family. And so he got up and he walked outside, and he started inspecting the motorcycles very carefully. And the motorcycle gang came rushing out. What are you doing to our motorcycles? He said, well, I'm admiring them. You obviously, care a lot about these motorcycles, and they're quite beautiful, and this must have cost a lot of money, and this must have taken a lot of time. And he was acknowledging, using the powerful healing tool of acknowledging. And these motorcycle gang calmed down, and he asked them questions, and they answered the questions and everything. And he said, well, I guess my lunch is going to be ready, so I'm going back inside. And thank you very much for teaching me about how much you love your motorcycles. And he said the motorcycle gang turned into, they were falling over one another, being as polite as their level of manners was. And the motorcycle gang insisted on buying Martin and his family lunch. And it was a very elegant, quiet lunch. And I thought about this fella, what to do about somebody who's obviously upsetting his kids. And it was like, well, how can you be calm and compassionate and kind to this person? That Jack Cornfield taught me only loving kindness and compassion can heal some things. And when people are wounded and reactive, and they're really healers, waiting for teachers on how to teach them how to use their skills. But we'll make another video about that. So please make your videos, and because I don't know how else I can be helpful but tell you stories, and maybe the stories will work for you. So keep on staying calm, carrying on. Okay, bye. And tell your stories about how you were a bully. I was a bully. I've got those frightened parts in me. Okay.